We want to say good evening, everybody, and welcome to an overdue meeting of those of us in the wing that are part of the Chaplain Corps, our chaplains and CDIs, and our chaplains and CDI candidates that we have joining. This evening, we're going to provide some reminders and some updates. We have several guest speakers, starting with our very own commander, Colonel Reed, who you may or may not know is actually a CDI as well. And then Rabbi Grossman, who's part of the national staff, and we'll explain a little bit about what happened over the year and how Father Ruderman, as the chief of chaplains, kind of rearranged that staff. And then we'll also have Colonel Vogelswain, who is both our wing and region CDI, speak to some of the critical things that we need to get done by the end of the year, particularly CAP reporting, and then some of the training we want to look at doing. I will highlight and provide some recognition and acknowledgement to some of you that have been working really, really hard across the wing. And then we'll talk a little bit about where we need some support and where we're asking you to give me a little bit of input for the last year here of things that you may have been doing so we can create an end of year after action report. So that's the agenda. Real quick, we're going to ask Chaplain Cooper to pray over us to open up the meeting, and then we'll turn it over to the commander. So Chaplain Cooper, if you would do the honors, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Let's open our hearts to God. Lord, we ask you to look down upon the Civil Air Patrol as a whole. And then, God, we ask you to look down upon the chaplains and the CDIs and bless the work that they're doing, that we're doing. And God, we ask you to join this meeting with us so that we can invite you into our processes that we go through. Bless each and every person that's here. Bless our families. Bless our loved ones. And God, we know that all things are working together for our good. We thank you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I do want to recognize the time and effort that Colonel Reed has shown to give us. She's in the middle of traveling, so we're going to let her share some remarks, and that way she can do what she needs to do. But it is a blessing to have you, ma'am. Thank you for taking the time during this season to share a few remarks with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being on here. This is a great turnout. As Chaplain Gann said, I am a CDI, so I do have a special place in my heart for the Chaplain Corps, and you all do great work. I do believe that we have the best Chaplain Corps in the nation, and just as once again, I want to congrats to Chaplain Gann, our National Chaplain of the Year for this year. That's indicative, as I said a little bit earlier, it takes a team, and you all are a part of that team, but it takes a leader, and he is the leader of this team. And so I appreciate all that you do, Chaplain, and you and your team. So as wing commander, I don't get to do the CDI lessons every month anymore. Lieutenant Nordvik took over for me, and she does a great job. But I miss being out there every month with the cadets and finding out where they are in their life and in their growth. And I do miss that. So if you ever find yourself that you need a substitute, call me up. I can be there, provided I'm not somewhere else, So this year, again, has been, I think, a great year. We have, as a Chaplain Corps, you have been there when you're needed. I was out in Cumberland when we did the flood mission, and we had, Chaplain Cooper and Sherry Moitoza, Lieutenant Moitoza, CDI out there, just, there in case people needed us. We needed, after some events at Tri-Wing, Chaplain Corps, you were there. You're where you need to be, and you're there when you need to be. And I think that is fantastic. You're there, just when our folks need help and when they just need a listening ear. And that is very important, that our people, not all of our members attend church, and just having that somebody that they know will be there that could listen to them. And having you there, having your presence is important. So I want to thank you all for what you do. I want to welcome Rabbi Grossman. I'm super excited that he has joined us, and I see he's going to be talking in a little bit, but super excited, sir, that you are here and in Maryland. I think you're going to bring a lot to our wing and to the chaplain corps here. So big Maryland welcome to you, and glad to have you. For 2026, looking ahead, I really do hope that we're going to continue to grow the corps. I believe we almost have all of the squadrons filled with a chaplain or CDI. Do we, chaplain? We're getting closer.
We're close. We're close.
Okay, well, I want to continue to grow that. I would love for every squadron to have somebody, two somebodies even if we can. But every squadron would have somebody. And so I appreciate those of you who are filling in to those squadrons that don't have that somebody yet. But we want to continue to grow the corps. I really have started an emphasis. I hope that by now most of the wing knows I feel very strongly about the core values. And I have an emphasis that I've just been kind of beating a drum on for the last month, 6 weeks, that I'm going to continue, is that it's not enough to say we live the core values. We actually have to live them. We have to show our members that we live them. We can't get up there and preach every month at CDI, CDI lessons and say this and then go and do something that's not right. And that's not just for the chaplain corps, that's for the commanders, that's for every member out there. And so you'll hear a little bit more emphasis on us living that core values, and living it on a day-to-day basis, especially, integrity and what we do. People are watching. And if we're not those role models, if we're not doing it right, then they're not going to listen to us when we need them to listen to us. Our actions speak louder than our words. So in 2026, you'll see a much bigger emphasis from me on the core values and integrity. I mean, I know everybody knows, that I do talk a lot about excellence, but integrity to me is the top core value out there. Everything else hangs on that integrity. Something that came up the other day, and I'll be talking to Chaplain about this. I had a meeting with some wing staff and squadron commander, and they brought up the topic that some of our commanders and our members, they don't know what to do when a member is hurting. They don't know where to go. Whether it's professional help, who do they reach out to? Do they go direct to the chaplain? Do they go to their group commander? Do they go to the knock, if it is serious, if somebody's considering suicide? And that struck a chord with me that, we need to do better. And so I'll be working with you, chaplain, after the holidays. I'm going to want to get a task team together, partly the chaplain corps, partly maybe a commander or two, and see what we can do to help our people, because it's one thing to help them, with their promotions, but to help them in their lives. We're building, for cadets, we're building life skills. And that's not just how to public speak or how to do things. That's also how to thrive emotionally in this world. And it's a crazy world. So in next year, we're gonna be looking at how we can help our members with that. And I will obviously be reaching out and relying on the chaplain corps for a big piece of that. So let's see, I'm just looking at my notes and they're really a chicken scratch, so bear with me. So yeah, it's just living what we teach and holding our members, whether they're cadet leaders or senior leaders. A lot of times we always talk about the cadets, but the seniors are watching us. And the seniors many times need more help than the cadets do, but they're not going to ask. Whether it's pride or ego or whatever, they're not going to ask. But we have a lot of members that need help, and that's where we come in. So 2026, those are my two emphasis items, obviously, is living the core values, and let's find a way that we can help our members who are hurting. I'm going to encourage each of you to look for opportunities in your squadron, whether it's your monthly lesson, whether you're just there as a presence and you have a spot where you say, hey, let's talk. You're open to talking to people. The more open you are, the more willing they are to talk to you. But there's other opportunities. We have encampment that will be coming up. We're still working on the date and place. I mean, it might be Camp Frederick. I'm kind of hoping we can find something a little different. But when Tri-Wing, if it works for your schedule, I hope that you'll be able to come out, even if it's just for a day. We have other opportunities. We have Pathfinder. We have, just the different events that go on each month, whether they're your local or your group or the wing. We have cadet events every month. We have drill. Come on out to drill. But get involved. The more people know who you are and the more people know that you care, the more people we have the opportunity to influence for better. So whether you're at Tri-Wing or regular activities or SARXs, I encourage you to get involved as mission chaplains. Just get out there. And I encourage you each to also, whether it's at a SARX or education training thing, work on your personal development. I don't want you to spend so much time helping others that you forget to take care of you. You can't be helpful to others if you're not taking care of yourself. So whether that is growing as a CAP member in your education and training, whether it is growing personally, spiritually, meeting people, getting to know them, growing your base of influence. Let's make 2026 a year that we all are going to grow, and we're going to see this organization thrive. And we're just going to see, I'm hoping just to see a difference in the support that we're giving, just lifting that to a higher level. You do great work, and I appreciate everything you do every single day. So I will turn it back over to Chaplain, and I appreciate you allowing me this time to speak. Thank you, Chaplain.
Well, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that very much, and we look forward to working on those task items as well. And we want to wish you a very happy holiday season and safe travels as you're with your family. And thank you again for the support and the confidence that you give everybody in the wing. That's very important to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we are going to keep moving along, but I think if we take a moment to follow up on recognitions and acknowledgments real quick. Keep in mind, this is a recorded piece, so those that are not here actually on the meeting, some of them we want to recognize are not here, but I want to first of all start out acknowledging every single one of you, just like Colonel Reed said, each of you in the service that you give to CAP, both in and outside of the Chaplain Corps, is very important, and thank you for that. I do want to follow up, Colonel Reed did mention we had a good presence. We actually had a chaplain support team go out and support the Allegheny missions, the flood missions. So Chaplain Cooper and Lieutenant Martz from Upper Montgomery County, Chaplain Cooper from Wacomico were representatives on that. And that, in my recent memory, is probably the only time we've had actually a true chaplain support team out for a real world mission like that. So we want to say thank you for them. They were recognized at the Wing Conference with some awards. Also want to recognize Chaplain Cooper for his diligence in completing the Wing Chaplain course, and that allows him now to complete his professional development level 3 and receive a senior rating as a chaplain. I want to go back as far as last year. Parkland has been a squadron where a lot of you have stood up to provide CDI support. So whether it was last year or as we're going into it this year, so Lieutenant Matsoa, Lieutenant Sullivan, Lieutenant Norvent, you were all part of that. Captain Humphreys supporting 2024 Parkland, and as we're going in to 2025, Lieutenant Folis out of Mount Airy, and again, Lieutenant Matsoa, we appreciate you supporting Parkland. Those things are above and beyond what you normally do with your home units, and I want you to know several times Captain Troy Smith, who is the commander for Parkland, has come to me and said thank you very much, and he's talked about each one of you individually about what you've brought to that squadron, and Parkland has just exploded in the last year, 2 years under Captain Smith, both in growth as well as the quality that we're seeing. They were a quality unit this year, and the growth in those cadets, and part of that is what you're doing with them in character development and setting role models. With that said, we have some new folks in the wing, in the Chaplain Corps, which is exciting for me. So one, I see Senior Member Jonathan Rios is on board. He's in Townsend. He's a pastor locally, and will be initially coming on as a CDI, but we're going to get him transitioned to a role as a chaplain as quickly as we can do the paperwork. We also have Father Jonathan Morris, who's up in Hartford. He's a retired Army chaplain, as well as a current VA chaplain, and his packet is currently processing. With the government shutdown, all the paperwork got stuck in the mailroom, literally. So we hope to see that appointment by the first of the year. And then our next guest speaker, as well as our new member officially of the Maryland wing, who transferred in just in the last month, Major Davad Grossman, Rabbi Grossman. Many of you may already know him. He's actually on our national Chaplain Corps staff. And just quickly, if you did not see the announcements in the transmitter, you know that Chaplain Ruderman, our chief of chaplains, did do a little reorganization on the national Chaplain Corps staff. We now have 4 divisions, both with a chief and a deputy chief. And those divisions include education, Chaplain Corps education, headed up by Chaplain Minor, Chaplain Corps personnel, headed up by Chaplain Paris, and then technology, which is headed up by Chaplain Perez. And then there is plans and programs, affectionately known as operations, if you will, for the Chaplain Corps, and that's headed up by Chaplain Morrison, and his deputy is Rabbi Grossman. And so, sir, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you share some news from the headquarters, maybe, and some things that might be coming down, as well as thanking you for taking on the chaplain role with our newest squadron in the wing, Patapsco, which is in Granite. It's a Granite Squadron is essentially 2 squadrons now, the homeschool squadron and the evening squadron. And Rabbi Grossman graciously stepped up to serve as their first chaplain. So thank you very much for that, sir.
Pleasure very much. And I'll start off by saying you talked about the new changes at the national and the divisions. So I want to put in the chat box real quickly. These are the 4 divisions. And the email to reach us. Obviously, you want to go through your chain of command and talk to group and wing and region. But at any point, you do need to reach out. So there's a direct email address that will go to each of those divisions, so you can get answers directly on the topics of the day. So don't hesitate to use that. But again, start with local resources first in your chain of command. So I want to again a warm thank you for the warm welcome from Colonel Reed and Chaplain Gan My wife and I moved here within the last year, and we're very, very busy. So look forward to meeting more of my new neighbors here now that I'm getting into the community as well. My first intro was at the Wing Conference, and that was marvelous, and a lot of wonderful people. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to talk about encampments. We don't have the date set yet for the tri-wing here, but the benefit of encampments is really a phenomenal opportunity to get involved in the grassroots of what we do at Civil Air Patrol and get a really good sense of it. And I didn't go to encampments for the first. I'm in Civil Air Patrol like a dozen years now. Initially, I did not go because they always include my Sabbath. They're always on Saturday, Sunday, or branch through that. And so I never tried to do that. But as a parent, it came the day when my son was the cadet commander of encampment. Now I had to go. So that was my introduction. And since then, being there on Shabbos has not been a problem, and I've been able to make a point to actually be there when I can. I had the opportunity to go to encampments in different states as well. If you haven't had the opportunity to work with an encampment, by all means, please. It is one of the most rewarding things we can do in the Civil Air Patrol is participate in encampments. And on that note, one of the challenges we've had with encampments is oftentimes commanders don't know what to do with this. Here comes the chaplains or the chaplain corps team, and they don't know what to do with this. And so we've started, one of the things that the chaplain corps has been working on now in plans and ops is working with the tech department is creating a recording system that says, what did you actually do? Let's gather the data. Let's gather the numbers so that we can report up the chain to say exactly what we're doing, because we want to capture the full scope of the support that you're providing. We want to document the significant interactions, the services, the classes, the interventions that you do, and actually provide accurate data through the chain of command. And we want to actually demonstrate the real impact that Chaplain Corps and our CDIs are doing at every single encampment. So as you participate, there is a reporting system. We're creating a newer one. We just had a meeting this evening, about 50 people across the nation participating to learn a little bit more about that reporting system so that winter encampment can have it. And it'll be available again for spring and summer. We ran the beta testing throughout 2025, and results came back really good, and started to be able to use those numbers. During the next year, we'll be looking at how to use those numbers to report your efficacy and how we participate. So look forward to having you guys use all that systems and everything as we get involved in it. Another topic that's come up that's been brewing for years, and it's actually we're making some direct progress with this topic, but our CDIs do so much more than just character development. And that title doesn't reflect what you really do, nor does it reflect our counterparts in active duty Air Force. So we're looking at how do we create a new title for that role that accurately describes and reflects what our counterparts in active duty do, and yet also the difference between what active duty does and what our character development officers actually do. So we are looking at that one. The Chaplain Corps has 80-1 as our regulations. That is being updated and changed. And so we're looking that in that new one, there hopefully will be a new title. I'd like to say that's coming out soon, but as you know, in Civil Air Patrol, soon could be any time in the next decade. But we are working on that actively, and I do think we're getting much closer to that. So just to know that is in the works. We are listening to what our contingency wants, and so we're trying to put that together. Another aspect of one of the things that we've been working on, and Chaplain Gann and I have been talking about this, is that every squadron has to be able to qualify for the Excellency Awards. And from my understanding from Colonel Reed, we're also looking at the adult squadrons starting to have their own type of award systems for their growth and everything for the adult squadrons. And part of that is having character development classes or having a character development instructor or chaplain in each squadron. We don't have the crew to do that yet. I don't know that we'll actually be able to cover every single squadron. But one of the things we're looking at is if we can create where every group has a chaplain or character development instructor that can then cover the squadrons within that group, and you actually get that in the regulations so that the quality award shows They don't have to have a chaplain for the squadron, but for the group the squadron was within to be able to cover that. And as we make those changes, one of the things that will be incumbent upon all of us is to be able to hop around. I was in one squadron in Illinois for a long time. A new squadron opened up near me, and I was told that I was being transferred to that squadron by Wing Command. And yet my original squadron still needed CDI classes, so I ended up doing 2 every month. But when COVID came, we learned to do that virtually as well. And so that's one of the things we're looking at, is if a group chaplain or CDI will be able to go to some of them, but also be able to do so virtually to cover them as well, so that we can cover the whole area and develop the rapport with the cadets and the adults there to be able to help them as they need. As Colonel Reed was talking about, our presence should be able to be there so that they can know to reach out to us when they need to. And I want to mention one last thing before we hand over. I'll open up the questions or anything else, but one of the things that I'd love to share now that we've moved to Maryland is that in Washington, D.C., every year, the very first night of Hanukkah, there is a national menorah lighting ceremony. The 2-hour program that includes a military band. And one of the things that I'd love to do is to see as many CAP cadets and adults in uniform showing up. Getting feedback here. If you haven't muted, maybe mute so we don't get the feedback. But at the National Menorah Lighting, I've made arrangements with the organizers that those of us who show up in uniform and those who come with us, we will all have priority seating up in the front, so that us in uniforms will be seen across national channels, because everybody, all the channels across the country cover the National Menorah Lighting, and therefore the opportunity for us to be seen and seen in uniform showing up there. So the invitation is out. It's on the Wing calendar. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you'd like to know more about it. I can send you an email to participate, but the goal is to get as many of us as we can. I'm also inviting veterans, particularly Jewish war veterans, and bring as many of them as I can as well. I will actually have a chartered bus coming from Baltimore, going down to DC, going to the event, and coming back. I know not all of you live close to Baltimore. I haven't quite figured out where everybody is in the state yet, but there will be a charter bus going down. So if you want to participate, you can go with us on the charter bus. I think it's a great opportunity again to create more of our visibility of Civil Air Patrol within the nation. Chaplain Gianna, head it back to you. One other clarification. You'll notice that my name is spelled Dovid, D-O-V-I-D, and it's the Hebrew version of David, right? But the way to pronounce it, think of a white bird of peace, a dove, I-D, Dovid. That's the easy way to pronounce that. Any questions before we hand over the mic? Okay, sir, back to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rabbi, so much for that. And it is great to have you here as a resource. And it's great to see some of the growth that we've got going on. We've got 3 of the biggest faith groups covered now with Rabbi Grossman. So we've got the Catholics, the Protestants, and the Jewish faiths covered at this point. One of the big things for everybody as we move into 2026, don't forget about recruiting, not just recruiting for CAP, but recruiting for the Chaplain Corps, for other CDIs and chaplains, so that we're preparing for the next generation. There's never enough available. So think about that as you run into people or talk to people in your time. So before I turn it over to Colonel Vogelsang, I do have some talking points I'm going to run through real quick that are some important things to keep on your plate. And then actually Colonel Vogelsang is going to talk to some of that and actually walk you through that from training standpoint to close things out. Right, I'm just looking at the chat to see. I don't, Rabbi Grossman, there was a Lieutenant Norvid had a,
Got
I'm
it.
not sure if that was a question or a comment there, but
So the answer to the question I just posted, but the JUSA House is the Jewish Uniform Services Association, and our charter bus will be leaving from there and going back and forth to focus on, again, service to our veterans.
all right, very good. All right. So Colonel Vogelsang's, we won't want to buy her a little bit of time here. So I'm going to go ahead and show our list here. So we're ready when she's ready, but let me share if I can. And hopefully everybody is seeing a slide deck now, right? Thumbs up.
Coming up, coming up.
All right, I got the thumbs up. All right, so here's the list of the things that I would leave with you as we close out the year. First of all, a reminder about asking for your input as we develop an end-of-year AAR for the command staff. So if there's particular things you did, things that happened, please feel free to shoot me an email in the next few weeks so that in the month of January, we can draft that and polish that and get it at the wing staff meeting. With that said, cap cars and cap cars reporting, and that's a misspelling on the cap cars abbreviation. Sorry about that, but Colonel Vogelswain is actually going to address cap cars reporting in just a moment. So I won't go into detail, but let me beat you up enough to remind you it needs to be done by 31 December, right? I've got a little bit of a grace time to get all that reporting up to Chapman Bailey as the region chaplain, and then he's got to get it up to Father Ruderman at the national level. So please, if you haven't kept up your cap cars reporting, get in there and do that. Some things to think about in 2026, other than what Colonel Reed also shared with us tonight about, coming alongside our members, both cadet and adult members. Think about that concept a little bit. A peer support, wingman concept. How do we come alongside each other in times of need? We had several incidents over the course of the year, to include the DC crash that did impact many of our members, more members than you may have thought about, were impacted by that crash. So, and then there's the internal things, teenagers growing up, life struggles, those kinds of things. So I would reach out and put a feeler out there for you guys if you've got thoughts and ideas and or interests, if we form a working group about participation. But some of the critical operational things, we need to continue to support Parkland. Several of you have done this for years now. I do still need to cover their CDI duties for the rest of the school year. So starting in January through May, we have openings if you have availability. Tri-wing, Colonel Reed mentioned Tri-wing, Rabbi Grossman mentioned encampments. This coming year, again, we don't have a date or confirmed location yet, but I would really love to see us to be able to deploy 2 chaplain support teams. Captain Tosk and I served in this year's encampment, and it was a lot busier than we thought it would be. And there were some pretty dramatic things that occurred that it was good that we had that support. And Chaplain Grossman actually came out on a day as well and provided some support for that. So if you can break away for a week or even just a few days, once the date is allowed, please let me know. We want to maximize our presence at Tri-Wing, and then the other things that will go on next year to include our SARXs, as well as potentially region level activities like the Warrior Challenge. One thing for everybody, we want to get you mission rated. So for chaplains, to be mission rated means you complete the mission chaplain CAP support level training, and for CDIs means you complete the chaplain support specialist CAP support rating. That class, and again, Colonel Vogelswing will cover that, but that class is a 4-week virtual class, 3 nights a week. It does require some work, but we really need to have everybody mission rated, particularly chaplains at this point. All the chaplains we need to have mission rated. So let's try to make that achievable this year by committing to one of those 2 training dates. And then that brings us to the assignments at the group level. So we'll have some announcements going out for vacancies as a CDI and as a chaplain at the group level. Those will probably be primarily additional duty assignments. We're not asking you to leave your home squadron. Although if you're looking for a home squadron, working with the group commander, if you're selected, then we could place you at the group if need be. But we want both a chaplain and a CDI in each of the 5 groups. And ultimately, we're going to ask that you also are mission qualified if you take on that role. The chaplain corps is going to be changing. At least that's the word I'm getting as part of Chaplain Minor's education team. Some of our educational requirements. More to come on that as the formal changes are done in the regulation 80-1 or in the specialty track manual 40-80. So those changes include swapping the wing chaplain course and the advanced character development course. So the advanced character development right now is required for master rating, and wing chaplain is required for senior rating. They're talking about flipping that, which makes more sense because all of us need character development, but not everybody necessarily will serve at a wing or region level leadership role as a CDI or as a chaplain. So making that part of the master track would be more appropriate. They're also, the Chaplain Corps College is going to offer a virtual regional staff college each year. That's tentatively scheduled to come out for June each year. And then they're talking about re-racking and stacking how we get continuing education credit in the Chaplain Corps. So you could do it through the Region Staff College, or you do it through a point system where if you complete X amount of training, you get a point, and if you get enough points, you get credit for that continuing education piece. All of those things are in the works. And it runs at CAP speed, right? And then one last thing I'll mention, a lot of times this doesn't get noticed, and although this affects primarily the chaplains at the moment, but to Chaplain Grossman's point, we're trying to integrate CDIs more into Air Force assigned mission opportunities. So right now in Maryland, the wing chaplain at Andrews has reached out for chaplain support for military funerals. They also, across the nation, across the country, the Air Force has needs for contingency support, and they are looking to CAP Chaplain Corps to provide contingency chaplain support teams for part of their mission planning. That also includes additional training at the local community level, how we integrate other faith-based resources in a contingency disaster, meaning if a base was attacked, destroyed, or otherwise hampered, hurricane season, Edwards is a good example, or Pat Edwards, whatever that was in Florida, where the base was severely damaged and destroyed. Those kinds of things where they require long-term contingency support, they're looking at us to come alongside as their auxiliary to do that. That means everybody needs to get engaged in that training and professional development piece, to include the Auxiliary Chaplain Corps program. At least phase one, the Auxiliary Chaplain Corps program is for chaplains only. It is the equivalent of the active duty basic chaplain course, but we divide it up into 4 phases. That first phase is primarily support to military funerals and ceremonies. Unless you're a prior active duty chaplain, which you can get some of that waived, that's the immediate need. And then if you can complete the rest of the training, then you can come aboard for other additional AFAM missions. And there are requests from both the National Guard side of the house in Maryland, as well as active duty components within Maryland for chaplain support to active duty members. And some of it we can provide, some of it we can't provide because we just don't have the trained personnel yet. So if you're interested in those kinds of opportunities, then let's engage this year. Happy to sit down and talk more about that. Most of those opportunities, as I said, though, are currently for chaplains, but we're trying to grow into what would be a religious affairs airman type duties that you could, as a CDI, come alongside active guard and reserve elements to support their mission needs. So with that, Chaplain Vogels, I'm sorry, Colonel Vogelsang,
I'm here.
if you want to, I'll turn it over to you. I can flip slides, or if we can, I don't know if I can switch
Whichever's
control.
easier.
Easier. We got the slides up, so
Okay.
I'll go to your first slide, and
Okay.
I'll turn it over to you. You tell me when to flip.
All right. So Chaplain Gann had mentioned that, and so for those of you a little bit more visual and that makes it a little easier, these are the 2 upcoming dates for the chest basic training. So if you're wanting to go out to NISA later at another point in time, for the part 2 of this will get you going to help become that first step of being part of the CST team type of thing. And so I have there, these are both virtual. Their meetings, when they're meeting on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, just be careful because one is Central and one is Eastern time. So make sure you know your time across the United States to know when that actually is for meeting. So sometimes it can be a late night because depending on which one you're going in, and people are coming from Hawaii and all places all over the United States checking in. But those courses are extremely helpful. You do some online virtual kind of breakout sessions, and you work with a chaplain. I believe, I think I saw Chaplain Wong on here. So we were a part of a little virtual team, and we're working through different things. And so it was really helpful, so that when I then went on to NISA to do the second part, then I had a little bit better understanding of what the CS team did and how it functioned. Next slide. So to understand a little bit more of the CHEST program, so this is the emergency services part of the Chaplain Corps program. Of what we can be able to do is just to really be equipped to respond to and support large-scale, long-term, sustained missions in CAP. Example would be the Hawaiian, the fires from the volcanoes and stuff there. Was that now 2 years ago, I think? But they had people that were there that were able to help well, it's more noticeable for them, the community, to see a chaplain, and they were more readily went up to those, the chaplains and stuff. They weren't as readily going up to like a CDI because they didn't understand. We have no symbol that they really understand, that we have visible for them. But we were still there with them and were able to help in different ways. So for the chess program, so if you do the online, there for that month, what I was just saying on the last slide, then at NISA, you can go and do at Camp Atterbury in Indiana. It is a week long this year. And so that you can do the part 2 part. All right, next slide. So this was just to try to, I was trying to pull everything off from different places. So these are for your chaplain support specialist. These are all of your prereqs that you would need. Most of them you probably already have. For the right-hand side, you might not have all of your ICSs done. So just take a look. You have your 200, 700, and 800. Most of you probably already have your ICUT. If not, you want to be working with your squadron to see if you can get that under your belt. So it's, you know, FEMA courses type of thing. Next slide. So then this is for the for either the chaplain or the CSS. This is for your CAP support rating. So these are kind of like what the classes that they give you, that are topics that they cover during that month of training online for the virtual training. You'll notice it says exercise participation. There's 2 SARCs. They're tabletop exercises that you do online with several people in different little breakout rooms. This certification does not expire, which is nice. I found it beneficial. I learned a lot from a lot of different people. It wasn't extremely hard. But it made you stretch your knowledge and understanding of CAP, understanding CAP in mission fields, you know, in disaster type of things. So I found it very useful. Next slide. I forgot what I wrote here. Hold on. This was just kind of just the goals of if you're now wanting to go on to your disaster rating, which is the one that's at NISA. This is the different things that covers. Next slide. Once again, here's your prereqs. You have a few more FEMA classes to go and do. There's your 405, 505, and 909. These ones I found, you know, FEMA courses can be a little drudgerous, but these ones I found quite interesting. It reflected on some of the things I kind of knew from different areas and kind of tied them together. So I found them useful. You can see once again, there's what gets added into it is psychological first aid. And so some of you with your backgrounds, you might have experienced and have some knowledge on this type of thing, but not everybody does. Once again, you participate in 2 training exercises. I don't know where they're doing it this year. Last year we had this big gigantic rock pile, and so they would be working with the ground teams that were training, and they were trying to locate someone. And so then we had to go and perform, you know, to do what we think we would be saying if someone was in a mass casualty and how to console them and things like that. I found from the CDI side of it, it was very hard. Chaplains, you guys, most of you, I think, as far as I can see, have that aspect a little bit down pat. You know, the words come to you a little bit better because you've had more experience. CDIs, we do not have that bag of tricks. And so it would, me and the girl that I was with, we would like, okay, so when we meet this person, what are we going to say? How are, you know, what do you think should be the first things come out of your mouth? You know, because it's just not as easy for us to do that without saying that wrong thing that, you know, we've always heard about, oh, you shouldn't say this if someone has died, and you know how they feel, because we don't know how they feel, like those types of things. So it was very eye-opening for me. I enjoyed it. Next slide. Oh, and that one goes for 3 years. So you do have to go back every 3 years to NISA to get that one recertified. All right, so where you can go to register. And by the way, I put all of these, I think everybody that's online, maybe not the newest person that's joined us, these are in the toolbox, the CDI toolbox on Teams. So if you need these slides, you can go back to them. So just by going to the Maryland Wing website, you can go down to where I have made the website for the Chaplain CDI. You can go under CDI. Then down on the right-hand side, you can see education and training opportunities. You can get to this in other places. I just figured by making it a place that maybe most of us have gone to and seen with the Maryland website, then you can register for the basic training there. Just remember that disaster rating is only given at NISA. That one is not virtual. Next slide. So the Regent Staff College, I think, Chaplain Gann, I think you mentioned about this. So as of right now, I have not found exactly where it just says postponed till 2026. So I don't know if Chaplain Gann has any further knowledge with that of more in depth on dates, but that is all I could find. So I will keep posting stuff as I find it on the Wing website or in the Teams chat type of thing. Next one. All right, so some of you are new to CAP, and your CAP cars is not, you don't know exactly what you need to do this. Some of it might just be a little bit of a review, which is fine. And like I said, these slides I have in the team, so if you need to go back and review what they say, you're more than welcome to. Next slide. All right, so we have to do this. This is the due dates using CAP cars. It's always ongoing. Within 30 days, you should be putting in, I usually do it that night or the next day. Otherwise, I forget, going into CAP cars and putting in what I did. And there are two periods of time, first 6 months and the second 6 months. And so you just need to make sure you're putting in your CDI lessons, and I'll show you that a little bit more in depth on another slide. Next. Next slide, Captain. There we go. All right. So this is just kind of for those of you who might not be completely familiar with navigating e-services, just making sure that once you log in, you go down the left-hand side on the menu, go to Chaplain, and then you can see it says Chaplain Core Reports. And then once that screen comes up, then you're clicking on the Chaplain Core Activity Reporting. Next. All right, so this is what it should not look like. It should not say in red, December 31st, 2025 red. That means you have not put in anything for the last 6 months. So that's not what Chaplain Gann is looking for when he needs to report to Chaplain Bailey. So what you are looking for, let's see, who did I think I took mine for this one. You should see that it's green down there at the bottom. That means I've put something in. So you can see I have, as of when I pulled this up, I had 10 hours, okay, for doing with one squadron and 6 hours for another squadron. You can change, if you need help of figuring out if maybe you're covering, like I know, Catherine, I know you've done other squadrons. And so if you know that you need to put in for another squadron, just let me know if you can't figure it out of how to add those types of things so that you are showing that you're covering and that that squadron is getting credit for it being taught so that it shows up on their records. Next slide. All right, so here I think I used Catherine's slides. So you can see she has, my cursor. You can see she has hers in there. So she probably hasn't taught the December one yet. So she hasn't put it in there. What they like us to do over on the right-hand side in the notes section is to write that what was the lesson taught that month. It doesn't have to be a big long paragraph, just saying which lesson was taught that month. If you had any expenses, whether it was for some of the little things that they have us teach during the lessons, and that you need, I don't know, say gummy bears for some part of the activity or some little thing, just make sure you're putting your costs in there, just so Chaplain Gann and higher up can see, you know, what kind of costs we're accruing by doing this out of our own pocket. So there needs to be entries every month. You can go back during those 6 months. If you say you forgot to do last month, you can go back and put it in, but you cannot go back the 6 months prior. That just, it won't let you do it. You also can't post date. So like if you were teaching it tomorrow night, you can't put, and you have time tonight to do it, it won't let you. So just make sure that you're kind of staying up with that. If you make a mistake, you can go back and delete an entry and put it in, you know, different, or however you see what your mistake was. Next slide. Okay, so there are all different kinds of areas. So for us, most of mine are usually under the, what's that, the fourth one down where it says character development facilitation. So every time I may do one of my lessons, that's where I'm putting it. You can use CapCars for a lot more things to keep track of what you're doing. If it helps you with taxes or whatever, to, you know, when it comes to at the end, our Goldstein, and you need to see what did you do to make sure you click all those things to get the tax credit, you can use it that way. So if you're like, sometimes when I'm doing lots of emails, sending them out for the wing and the region, I'm going to have them under administrative type of things. So just look to see what you think is the best area. Say you're doing the virtual training, they're coming up, that can go under training and education, that you can put it under that area. So you can use this as a tool more than what we really have to use it for. That's more of a kind of just so that the chaplains can see kind of what we're doing and that we're staying on track. Next slide. All right, so CapCars is not used per se for the SUI compliance, but it is an easy, great tool that all you have to do is print a report, submit it, and then the commander can see that you're doing everything and that you're not going to get dinged on those worksheets. So while it is not the official thing, it is, I find, easier than just relying on the, what is it called, like the attendance log. Next slide. And I'll say something more about that in a little bit. So, so this is at the current chaplain compliance elements. So it says compliance is verified using the unit logs or after action reports. So I had asked Chaplain Gann, well, is CapCars are considered our after action report? And he said, no, not really. So I don't really know what they're looking for them to say after action report, but the unit logs. So when those of you who ever set up like the attendance logs for the squadron, usually click what the night, that night's topic, or what you're doing that night, whether it's PT or CDI. While that's great, and you can use that as evidence, if the person that set it up didn't click that it was CDI that night, then nowhere for that month is it recorded that it was taught. So that's why I personally, I am nobody, but I think that CapCars is more useful, because then if I know I'm keeping up and putting it in there, it's more of a, you know, it's keeping track better. So I'm not relying on someone else to make sure it got put in right. I know it got put in right because I put it in. So next slide. All right, so so just know there are two with SUIs. It goes for 2 years. So it's going to be a total of 4 reports that you would pull. So you can see that I can go in, and you can do this too on the reporting. You can, under reports, you can change the different things. So I can pick myself, and then you can see on the right hand side it says reports for, and these are all going back several years. I can see what I did. So I know that for the SUI, that it would be the last 4 reports because of those reporting periods, 2 periods per year, that I would pull, and then I can submit them to the commander to upload. Next. Oh, Jane, did I see a hand? Or are you good? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I just got to hit the right buttons.
Oh.
We're going through an SUI right now,
Mhm.
and I did print the cap cars, and it seems to be acceptable as the evidence that we
Yeah.
need. The only problem I found was that I picked it up about a little over a year ago. I
Yeah.
couldn't print out the report prior to that time for whoever had taught them ahead of me.
Yeah, so I have to ask Chaplain Gann. I don't know if I'll have to look to see if I can pull. If he's still in the system, then I might be able to pull his up. But if he's
Well,
not still in the system,
I just wrote down, he sent me a list of the dates and what he taught. So it was not any official paperwork, but that's what I submitted, and
okay.
so far it seems okay.
Okay.
But that would be something.
Yeah, that I guess that would fall on asking Colonel Henderson to see if he's okay with that. But I can look to see if I can pull up his records if he has them there.
Yeah, and if you send me the name of who you're looking for, I certainly can look to see. We do go back pretty far, and I do get notices when there's 0 reporting. So usually, as long as everybody is assigned as a CDI or as a chaplain, we can see it. And you know, to Colonel Vogelsang's point, this is why it's important that you put information in there, because you can use it not only as evidence, but use it for so many other things. I use it for my Goldstein tax piece. So let me reiterate, chaplains, you put everything you do in CAP in there because you are always in your role as a chaplain. CDIs, as a minimum, you put in anything you're doing as a CDI, but I highly encourage you to put all your CAP activity in there. It is reported not only up to the national level, it is part of my staff reports to Colonel Reed. So Colonel Reed sees the hours, she sees the mileage, and she sees the money that is spent out of your pocket to do your activities. So it makes a difference. It would make a difference in us getting a little bit of a wing budget. If there's a need for us to do that, and this year was the first time each of the staff sections actually got a little money if they requested it. But it is a perfect record keeping piece, in my opinion, for evidential pieces to show what you're doing and how much you're doing. But it requires you to take that time and effort to log into CapCars, which is a administrative time on yours. So your cap cars reporting is reportable time that you spend under the administrative tag.
Captain Humphreys, did you have a question? I see your hand now that the screen's off. Oh, you're muted. You're still muted, sorry.
Upper right.
You should see an upper right hand. You should see it says mic up in the top right corner of your screen next to the camera button. There you go.
Is that
As easy as that.
So my question is, and I'm terrible in the cap form. I apologize in advance because I always hit some kind of way. I do it kind of on the last minute part of it, and then when I go to submit, it just keeps telling me to save. I think I had this problem the last time when I was trying to submit my form. I didn't have the submit button was not I guess active for me to click on. It just kept saying save. So I don't know if it was the time frame. And in addition to that, as far as the other activities that I may have done or been involved in, I have never put that. I always thought it was just reporting for CAP, like Captain Gann was saying. I thought that it was just based off of when I teach a class, or if I was, at a CAP activity that included me to be in any type of leadership role at that time, that would put it. But if I was to start to add, like if I'm going to a CAP meeting or we're doing some type of open house or whatever it is that going to be under the administrative section of it? Because when you choose each of the categories, they seem to be all CAP, like CDI or character development related, some or admin. So what would that fall under?
Whichever, I mean, there's no written rules of really whatever one you feel is the most best related. I know there's one that said, I think, cadet activities. So you could put it under that one if it's education and training for the cadets, or you could look at it as education and training for you. So it all depends on, as long as you're just sticking it somewhere and you're writing a little remark, you're not going to get in trouble for it being in the wrong section.
Okay. And the materials and things, like most of the stuff that I provide, I just buy it on my own. So I don't put it on a tax or anything like that.
Well,
so,
how long have you been in CAP now?
I guess about 13 years.
Yeah, so you take advantage of the Goldstein tax. It's like what, 7,500 now?
Yeah.
I think so. Take advantage of it if you're doing enough, and you can get those minimum, I think, of 40 points.
Yeah,
it makes a nice little dent.
It makes a big dent off of your state taxes. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to
Take
know that.
advantage of it.
How do I access the tax form? Is it just like if
sometime soon? I don't know if it's December or January. You'll see an email coming out usually from the wing that says that the Goldstein tax form is out. It's a worksheet and an Excel spreadsheet. And the Excel spreadsheet, you just have to read your little boxes, and it kind of walks you through it, and it calculates it for you on the first page of the spreadsheet. If you need help with it, just let me know and I'll help you when it comes out. And I can, when it comes out, I can shoot you an email saying it's out if I remember.
Okay, so I guess so tracking the CAP 34 form will probably help with remembering. Yeah. So I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because like my husband and I have like a calendar that we just write everything down on, and at the end of the year, then we have to flip back through it all the way to January to see, to keep track of some of that stuff for the Goldstein stuff.
Yeah. I just wanted to say my dad, he was in CAP. He's at Arlington now. He's gone on to be with the Lord. He was a chaplain for 30 years. He was out of Andrews. He served about 35 years in Civil Air Patrol. I was a little girl when he used to go to the meetings at Andrews, and here I am. I came to the squadron after he passed away in 2010, and it just kind of was something that I watched as a child, but was too young to join. But the impact of all the chaplains, he was a chaplain as well, was just indicative to what I'm doing today. It just was just so impactful. All the people that I got a chance to meet as a child, and all the mentoring and the things that I saw, and the changes that's happened with, the whole moral leadership officer, and all the changes from ground school, and the hypotheticals, and all the, different scenarios that we used to do when I first started CDI all those years ago. But I would just like to say thank you to everybody. And I'm so happy to meet you, Rabbi Grossman. It's such a good opportunity for the cadets of all different faiths and backgrounds to be able to feel at home. And so, I've met people from all different, because I'm very active. Me and Captain Gann go to the same church, same ministry. And it's just such a need, I think, for this generation, and for all the youth to be able to have a place to go. And I just wanted to say that this is a historical nonprofit that has transcended a bond for generations. Literally generations. Yeah. So thank you everyone for having me. And it's just been a great opportunity to be a part of it. So thank you.
Sure. How about Ed? I think I see your hand.
Yes, thank you. So quick question, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not certain. So one of the things that I received permission to wear the uniform for is the honor flight, national honor flights where veterans go to Washington, D.C. for a day, tour the monuments. That's not a Civil Air Patrol activity, but I do wear the uniform for that and have received permission to wear the uniform. Can that be placed in cap cars? I'm guessing not, but I figured I'd ask.
Off the top of my head, I don't know which category I would put in there, but yes, I would say it can be put in there. If you're wearing the CAP uniform, that's an
Okay.
activity that's related to CAP, and you can put it under there. Again, putting a remark in the note section exactly
Sure.
what it is. Better to over-report than under-report.
Underreport.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chaplain.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Major Wong, did you have a question?
You're still muted, sir.
Still muted. In the top right corner, you should see a microphone that you can click on.
Yes,
There you go.
thank you. I just want to clarify that the tax advantage thing is only for Maryland resident. We reside in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
too
correct.
bad, so sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, but it's a real privilege to participate with CAP. Thank you.
And we do appreciate you making that track from the DC line into Maryland to do that, sir. I
Thank
wish we
you
could
very
solve the text issue, and it could be a nationwide thing.
Yeah.
Maybe if you talk to your congressman about that, that will happen one day.
We are not represented in the Congress.
Yeah.
We have coffee.
Yep.
Well, actually, you do have a congressperson. You just don't get a vote. You are represented.
Correct.
So we're already at a little over 90 minutes, but we want to open it up for general questions, comments, anything that we left off that we want to share with everybody.
I think
certainly
Rabbi
appreciate it.
Grossman had something.
Yes, sir.
So I really enjoyed the presentations and the depth of presentations. I'd like to share a couple of things ahead of time. As you saw in Agatha's reports, there's a term called the Chaplain Support Specialist. That's the title we're looking at to report CDI, the name change we're looking at. So it's already coming out, not official yet, but you can see it already being used. So on that one. Regarding all of the reporting in cap cars and the challenges for getting that done, you get used to it. You do it on a regular basis. You do it after every meeting or every time you're doing something. It doesn't become as overwhelming as it initially is, and trying to figure out where you should report things. But I do want to mention that, God willing, during 2026, that will be replaced. And the intention of the replacement is that cap cars, right now we're calling cap cars 2.0. But the intention is you should be able to do this in 60 seconds. So even before you leave a meeting, you should be able to, report on a meeting and things like that. And it should be much simpler and much more direct, and without a lot of the extra categories that are not as critical or effective, especially what the command is looking for. That's part of what we're doing the change for the cap cars 2.0 is actually reporting what command is interested in knowing. And that's the distinction. Along with that will also be the things that we think command needs to know that they don't even know they don't know, but being able to actually share the story of what you're doing. That's a big piece of it. One of the things I wanted to share about from the conversations, and that was a really amazing report on all the different things. It brought me back to, wow, I've done all those things. But one of the confusions I had that I want to share with you, so you might not go through all the anxieties and and frustrations that I have going through this, but there's almost like two tracks to follow within the chaplain corps for chaplains. This is specifically for chaplains, right? Chess, as was mentioned, was specifically for mission chaplain for emergency services events, disaster events, national, disaster events. That's one area of education and getting qualifications in. A second area is the AUX Corps, the Auxiliary Corps programming, which is focused on being able to support the Air Force, the Air Force assigned missions, whether that's doing funerals or actually being able to step in to support the Air Force bases, things like that, and also looking ahead. If there would be a time that the country goes to war and our base chaplains end up being deployed forward, we need to be able to step up into those places to fill those gaps. And that training is specifically from the AUX Corps program. So I've done both. I did both because I didn't know what I was doing. But if you want to choose where you want to go first or which track you want to be involved in, then I want you to know that those are the options, because you can go all the way through the chess courses and get rich and rated. That doesn't get you on an airbase. So again, what do you want to do? And if you're like me, you're going to do all of it anyway. But at least you can do it intelligently with choice as opposed to stumbling through like I did. I hope that's helpful. I hope that's helpful for clarifications.
Thank you, sir. And regarding NISA for this coming year, the dates for NISA haven't been announced yet. They usually don't come out until the first of the year. Again, what's done at NISA is the disaster rating. So if you haven't done the CAP support yet, you've got to do that before you go to NISA. So if you want to go next year for NISA, you got to get into the February class if you don't already have your chaplain support specialist or mission chaplain CAP support rating. Also, CHEST is part of your specialty track advancement as well. So if you want to advance in your senior and master ratings, you've got to at least get the CAP support rating to those things. As far as the chaplain corps college classes, the new schedule for 2026 will be out sometime in the first of the year as well. And I will certainly send everybody an email with it when it comes out. It will go on the national website under the Chaplain Corps Education and Training page. But as the registrar for the college, I will make sure each of you get that link and know the schedule's been posted, since I have to do that for the college. So I'm really hoping you guys can make some time to do some of those things to make us a strong, capable chaplain corps within Maryland Wing. It does take time. There's a lot of effort there. And the recruiting piece, I can't foot stomp that enough. The more of us, the less the burden, the less work there is to do some of these things. And some of us may be moving on over time into different roles and different seasons in our life. So, being able to bring on folks and get them trained up to take our places is important as well. Lieutenant Norfolk, Catherine, you've got a question?
It was just a suggestion. I went to the last meeting with Rabbi, and he spoke about the new tools they're developing. I'm excited about that. Yay. And I'm beyond thrilled, to do all this different verification crap. I'm like, just let me in. I want to report this. I don't want this to be a big deal. So yay, I'm beyond thrilled. So, but I wanted to suggest if it could remember the format that we use. Like I have a certain way I do it. It says CDI granted - whatever this topic is. I'd like to just have that. And I'll just say, this month's integrity, next month's, whatever. I don't want to remember which ones do I capitalize. It's a minor thing, but it'd be nice to not have to think about it. Suggestion.
think that's a very good suggestion. Identify the squadron that you're teaching and the subject as a minimum. But yeah, making it unified and a codified way of doing things. Hopefully, and Chaplain Grossman, if you want to share this with those creating the next version, it would be helpful to have a user manual that is clear on what goes where and how.
No,
Yeah, because I
I-
mean,
I
I
like to
only
remember-
knew, Catherine, I only knew to tell you about how to put it in, because in some meeting, it was just a breeze through that they mentioned that we should do it a certain way, but nowhere have I ever seen it written of how it should be put in but they told me we need to put the lesson, at least the lesson that we taught. So.
So,
Because I would
Catherine-
love it to remember, like, whatever template I put there last month, I'd love it to me to put last month's and I'll just change it. Now it's integrity or whatever it is.
Catherine, could you actually write that up and send that in to HCX?
Sure. Do you understand
would-
what I'm saying? You saw what we
Absolutely,
wrote.
been there, done that, absolutely. And I bet you, dollars to donuts, Linda can automate it.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but I'm like, it just make it easier not to think about.
In e-services, it shows us what squadron you're assigned to. It should not be hard for her to be able to pull when you sign in. This is where you're, and if you're co-signed to another one, should be able to show, okay, these are the two squadrons she services. Pick one and do that. So she's amazing, and God bless geeks.
I mean, it's a squeaky wheel, but we're reformatting it. Let's make it easier.
Yes. And I guarantee you, she'll get excited when she hears the question, because her brain will start going, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I can pull from it. Oh yeah. She's already created a Google map that if there's a disaster in County X, she can now pull up who are the chaplains chess qualified within a 70-mile and 90-mile radius. She's already created it. So please write that in, send it to me. Yes, we'll look at putting that together. Absolutely.
So if like Mia, if you have problems, just call me. I mean, I'm not so far away. I could either meet you somewhere some evening, or we can try to do it over the phone. And Jonathan, since you're new to all this, if you have any questions about how to put it in, just let me know, and I can walk you through it. So
Thanks. I have one question though, a little off about Parkland, Captain Gann. So if we wanted to help, because I've supported them before, how is that rotation going to work, or what is it exactly that they need up there, as far as like the character development, or I don't know what they're doing with wingmans, if Captain Smith is doing that, because I used to support with those two things. I think I may have some time next year to support, or a couple of times of going up there. I think they do that on Wednesday. Is that still?
Yeah, third Wednesday of the month is when they do character development, and that's the primary need, is at least one person to step forward. If two of you can go, that's even better, just to have some redundancy and to have some extra support, because they've grown. They're like 30 plus 35 cadets or something like that. They're a good size now. But the third Wednesday of the month, and January through May are open dates. So the third Wednesday of each of those months. If you're interested in doing wingman for them, I can certainly share that with Captain Smith, that you might also be available to do wingman when he needs to do that. He's been doing that specifically himself. So, but the monthly character development piece, Lieutenant Matzo has been supporting that, and Lieutenant Folis from Mount Airy. But if we have room, and if we, like I said, if we have two people assigned, that's even better in case something happens. So I appreciate everybody, doing a little bit, so we don't have to burden everybody or one particular person to get that done. And Rabbi Grossman did offer a virtual potential as well. So, you know, there are ways to work around things. Right.
Yes,
Any other?
I'd be looking at probably trying to help them. They're not that school is not that far from my house. So it's not a, you know, I can coordinate that. So I guess I'll just email you
Yes, ma'am.
maybe afterwards.
Yeah, just
okay.
tell me what months you're interested in, and we'll share that with Captain Smith. And you know, the goal is in January to produce a calendar that will cover us through June, so that he knows who to work with if there's any questions. And
Now
then
you
if
can
we've
put
got
me
a
down
gap,
for January. I will be looking at least for January till we get the calendar together, because I'm going to be
Okay.
doing January at BCC for character development. So I used to pair it like that. I'd do Parkland, and then I'd go over and do BCC the next day. So if they would need the support, I probably could do like start off with January, because I have January for BCC.
Okay. Well, I'll circle us up on an email chain with Lieutenant Matsoy and Lieutenant Folis, and make sure everybody what they're comfortable with, and anybody else that wants to offer up any availability. I appreciate that.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Right. I certainly want to offer my holiday wishes for each of you for awareness. I am, as of next week, going to be out of country for 3 weeks until the first of the year for some family holiday travel out of the country. My phone is still working, but I'll be 12 hours ahead of the East Coast. So bear with me to get back with you if there's any emergencies. So Chaplain Wong, Chaplain Cooper, and Chaplain Bauer, Rabbi Grossman are here otherwise if you need some chaplain support. And with that, if we don't have anything else, I'm going to ask Chaplain Wong to close us out. And give me a couple of days here, but we'll send a link to the video. You can share that with anybody that missed it, and we'll also include the PowerPoint slides as well for those of you that don't have the Teams access. If you have a Wing Team email account and you're not in the Chaplain Corps Teams channel, let myself or Colonel Vogelsen know, and we'll make sure you've got access. The Wing email, the md.cap.gov, is in limited supply right now because of the changes in the Microsoft licensing. For those of you that don't have your hc.cap.gov email address, which is the Google one, please make sure you reach out to the technology email address hct@hc.cap.gov and get your account up and running. One, you'll need it for any Chaplain Corps training. You have to have that HC email account. And two, it gives you that extra email that is a CAP related email. You know, once you're on board, you know, you should be using a CAP email for all official business. So make sure you reach out to us if you have any questions on that. And Chaplain Wong, I'll let you.
Thank you, Chaplain Gan, Chaplain Grossman, and Agatha. It's been good to be informed of a lot of good things that happening in CHAP. Let's pray. God, we are so thankful for this season that you remind us that you are the God of light and you're the God who loves us, that you would send your Son into this earth. We thank you for CAP, 84 years. What a joy that today we can participate in this organization. Continue, God, to sharpen our skills. Help us to be sensitive to needs of the people. Be with us as we seek to be the presence in any situation, that we also sense your presence and invoke your presence in a time of need. And so God, give us rest for this evening. And we pray, Lord, that you watch over our families. Amen.
Amen.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Chaplain Wong. 84 years, 75 years for the Chaplain Corps. This was our 75th anniversary, by the way. And this weekend, if you didn't see the announcements, it is Cap Sunday, meaning Saturday or Sunday for your faith-based services. Please feel free to wear the cap uniform.